Welcome to American BBQ'ers. Today, we're making meatballs. So, got a bowl for our stand mixer. I'm going to take 1 pound of 85/15 ground beef. I've got 1 package of Italian sweet sausage. The casings have been removed. In here, I've got 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, fresh is better, and a 1.5 cups of panko breadcrumbs. Pour that in there. Then we take 2 eggs, like so. And then for our flavoring, you do this ahead of time. I have melted 3 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of parsley flakes, and about a teaspoon of my salt and pepper mixture. You get that, you warm it up, you melt the butter, you let it kind of simmer for about 30 seconds. You're going to start to smell the garlic and the seasoning get really fragrant. Turn it off, pull it off the burner, and let it come back and cool down. What that's going to do is going to activate your garlic and your seasonings. You're going to get better flavor out of the seasonings you have in there. So once it's cool, just going to add it here. Then we're going to take this over to our stand mixer. And we're going to mix it pretty good. And while we're mixing, we're going to take about 1 cup of water and slowly add it to our mixture. We want this mixture nice and wet, but still firm enough to make a ball. So, we're going to head over there next. Alright, we're mixing our meatballs. I'm slowly adding the water in. You want to get a good mix just to get all the ingredients incorporated and spread out. That way every meatball is going to be the same. That way you don't have a clump of breadcrumbs in one or a clump of garlic in another one. And as you add some water, it's going to start mixing a little better because just the meat on the paddle tends to get stuck a little. So if it's getting to where it's really stuck, turn it off, open it up, scrape it down, and add a little more water, and then keep going. Alright, I'm going to continue doing this till I get to the consistency that we need once all the water's done. After that, we'll start forming our meatballs. Okay, we got it to the consistency that we want. It's wet, you can mold it, but it's still firm. From here, make the meatballs any size that you want. It's just gonna, the bigger they are, the longer they're gonna take to cook. I personally like to use a number 50 scoop, kind of like what you see for cookies. And yes, it does etched in there, it says that it is 50. Some other ones will be on the handle, depending on the brand, but it will say the size. What I like to do, to me this makes the perfect size meatball. Just like to get it in the scoop and scoop it right out. And I just usually leave it like that. If you want, get your hands in there and you can roll your own meatballs. But again, it's all going to be on what size meatball do you want. You want to divide this batch up into 4 meatballs? Go right ahead. They're going to take a little longer to cook it that way. So I'm going to get going, and when we come back, we're going to the smoker. Okay, we got the meatballs on. We've got 64 out of that batch. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the smoker set on the smoke setting, and we're going to let them smoke for 1 hour. After that hour, I'm going to turn it up to 225 and pull the meatballs off when they get to an internal of 155 degrees. All right, we have our finished meatballs. They ended up going up to about 160 before I pulled them off, which is perfectly fine. You let them sit for about 10 minutes. It'll just kind of bring up the temperature slowly to make sure they're cooked all the way through. Right here is your finished product. From here, you can add it into your spaghetti sauce, or top it with your Sunday gravy, depending on where you're from and what